Let's see. I wonder if this is too loud. Hello, Dane. Hello, Phil. Can you guys hear me okay? Can you hear me over the music? Is my voice doing any doubling or anything weird? Let me know. Take a sip of my beverage here while I wait. What's going on out there? Looks like we have... Yep, a little quiet, but I can turn up my volume. Okay. So not me, though, right? Just making sure my mic is picking up. I can maybe turn up the sensitivity a little bit. Properties. Actually, I don't know that I can. I think this is as loud as this mic gets, unfortunately. Check, check, check. Okay. Always a bit of, trial and error. It wouldn't be a stream otherwise. My volume is cranked. That's fine. I'm usually the weird one out. Okay, well, as long as you guys can hear me, and I can turn off the music if it ends up drowning me out. But yeah. Hey, what's up, Blaze? What's going on? Let me move some of my things out of the way here. So, just had this idea kind of spur of the moment, but I was about to work on some prep for a ShadowDark game. I guess it's probably going to be ShadowDark. Might be Pirate Borg. I don't know. Could be Land of Eam, but we'll see. Going to run a local game for some friends, and I thought I would do some prep and figure out what some of the islands are going to be in the game. Nimble reviews making me want to spin. Why do I do this to anyone? It's the unfortunate part of the hobby where it's like I've met people who I think make awesome, amazing games, and I want more people to know about those games, but things do cost money. So Evan's really cool. He's super nice, and I loved his game. It's got good bones, as I like to say. It's really well put together, and I think if you're someone who's like got a group of like folks that still want to play heroic fantasy, but you don't want the headache of, I'll just be honest, like the headache of games like 5e and Pathfinder. Maybe you're like me, you just don't have a ton of time to dedicate to just the rules crunchiness. So you should get Evan on the channel. FOMO. It does. It is my kind of D&D. Like I would love to run a game of Nimble. I think just looking at the creature stat blocks and stuff, it seems so much easier to run. So much more streamlined. I said streamlined like 47 times in that video, so you know how I feel about it. Okay, so what I want to do today, I don't know if you guys can see this super well. This is, it's turned sideways, but this is my map for, I wanted to do a campaign that was loosely inspired by games like Wind Waker, and just like a piratey kind of campaign where it's going to be similar to a West Marches style, although this is probably going to be a monthly game, and it's all adults who have kids. So like, I didn't want to do a dedicated hex crawl because I don't think they'll be super interested in the fiddly bits. Oops, I said, here's the map, and then I put something over it. I don't think they'll be super interested in the like fiddly bits of like traveling hex per hex, but I think what would be fun for them is like an island crawl with the occasional pirate battle, ship to ship kind of combat in between. Not every time, you know, might roll to see how often that happens, or like, you know, I'll probably come up with some factions and stuff like the 7 Pirate Lords or something like that. But they're starting right here in this little quadrant, number 43, which I'm calling Troll Skull Island. In fact, I kind of have a dungeon that I started to write, and I'll show you real quick. And my thought is, I'm going to start this game off like very Elden Ring, Dark Souls kind of style, where they're just going to roll up some characters. I'm going to be like, okay, now erase all your equipment. You're in a dungeon, and I'm going to open it up, and let's see if I can find it. Oh yeah, here's a fun little thing I did. Just in case you haven't subscribed, hit the bell. How did that get in there? What is that? That's not in my notes. Okay, let's see. Okay, here is my dungeon I started to create, started to write up. But they're going to fall smack dab in the middle, 300 feet, not like damage, they're going to wake up in this hole, essentially. And they're going to be looking at 4 directions. Ugh, spelling. Pirate. Sorry, I'm not really paying attention to the chat at the moment, because I'm going to give my spiel, and then I'll catch up and read. But essentially, I want to put them all in this hole, and they're going to wake up, they're going to have no idea where they are, they're going to have to kind of fight their way out of the dungeon, and they're going to find a ship. And they're just going to know that they're on some strange island. They may run into some NPCs while in the dungeon. And then that's kind of the intro to the campaign. Once they find the ship, they get free reign of the bigger map, which is underneath all this. And they're going to start there. They're going to come out on Troll Skull Island. So essentially what I'm doing here is I have all these dungeon crawls, all these different adventures sitting around on my shelf, and I want to use them. So every one of these 60 some odd, 67, we'll say 63, I think it's something like that. Every one of these 63 islands has an adventure or a dungeon crawl tied to it. I've already decided that part. But what I want to do today is I want to take Troll Skull Island, which is the first island they're on, and decide what's outside of that dungeon crawl. What other POIs are on the island? Are there any inhabitants? Things like that. So I'm going to use Pirate Borg, ShadowDark, and of course, you knew it was coming, Knave 2E to sort of generate some of the POIs and interesting things on the island. Because unlike a dungeon crawls are kind of like either they're already fleshed out for you or you're coming up with it from scratch. But an island adventure, you kind of have to populate things. So I wanted to start off today just populating the first island they're on. And that's my goal. I just thought I'd do some prep and thought I'd share it with you, because people always say, like, show your prep. You know, how do you come up with stuff? You know, honestly, it's been a while, so this will be a refresher for me, because I've been running published adventures like ShadowDark mini adventures and stuff for a bit. And I haven't done a lot of creative exercises lately, so I thought it'd be fun to just, let's crack open Pirate Borg here. I got a little bookmark. And look at that. Uncharted Islands. This could be a good place to start, or I even thought about potentially doing, oh, actually that's in Knave. Knave has like weather, and I thought about tying the weather to the different island locations, because these guys aren't going to be playing every week. Like I said, it's a monthly game, so it might be fun to just decide, like, is there a strange elemental storm surrounding this island, things like that. Yeah, so anyways, I'm gonna jump back in here and see what you guys are saying. The Ecclesiacon event submissions are opening soon. I hear you, Wes. Loud and clear. Looks like my kind of D&D. Oh yeah, Nimble. Morning, fellow geeks. What's up, Swords and Stones? Lots of fixation on pirates lately. I do love my pirates. If there's one thing you should know about me, it's my love affair with pirates. Sounds like my shelves, Jordan. 500 adventures. Yep, staring at me. Yeah. So that was part of the idea for this campaign. Like, Minimal prep other than this kind of stuff, you know, the campaign building. Just getting really easy to run adventures, plopping them on a few islands, and drop something. Seeing where things go, seeing what you know the players end up being interested in, and just giving them a few things to nibble on each island. So nothing too crazy, like 3 bullet points per island. I like to prep minimally so I can use it at the table and not feel overwhelmed by my own prep. So let's see. We already know the size of the island. Actually, you know what? This is not to scale, so maybe I should roll on that. That'll be fun. Let's roll some dice. Start off with a D6. Oh, I got a 1. So it is a tiny island. Tiny. Okay. So I'm going to be moving things around a bit here, but bear with me. Actually, how am I going to keep this open? Let's do this. All right, where did my notebook go? Did I put it under everything? Oh, it's over here. Okay, so I got my notebook. There's Troll Skull Island. Grab my pen. I wonder if I can coax Worldographer to use, I don't know that word, Lilliputians or this tool to spit out an island network. Sorry, I didn't mean to say you were fixated. Just seen a lot of books and adventures about pirates. Oh, it's all right. Everybody loves pirates, right? Pirates are the best. Okay, so Troll Skull Island features. It's tiny. Okay, let's roll the terrain. I don't have 2d6, let's see. Actually, yeah, my mono makes are in here, so. Let's do, so I got a 9. What is 9? Flat with 1 prominent hill. All right. And even that's like, when I'm referencing this in the moment, I'm not going to want that much detail. So I'm going to write tiny island, mostly flat. Forgive my handwriting. It's really for me, not for you. I was homeschooled, so I blame it on that. My mom taught me how to write. All right. Vegetation. That's an 11. Forested and meadows. This is an example of where, like, I might not actually go with the roll here because I guess it could be a flat, mostly flat. I'm going to say barren rocks because this is Troll Skull Island. Mostly flat, barren. Okay, what other details do we need? Prominent natural feature. I'm going to skip. Well, let's just see what we get actually. 5. Black sand beaches. I don't hate that. Because I'd like this to ideally be like 1 to 2 sentences that I read to the players when they, you know, arrive on that island. Okay. Notable inhabitants, or animal inhabitants. That's a 9. Dog-sized lizards. I'm going to actually say, because this is Troll Skull Island, I'm going to say half troll. I'm not going to write that yet, though. I'm going to put it down here. Like, this is features. It'll be like inhabitants. Best place on the island to hide treasure? 7. Somewhere else. What a result. Lilliputians. I think it's from Gulliver's Travels. Okay. Worldographer should be able to set up an archipelago. Nice. Yeah, I'm going all natural on this one. I want to have stuff that I drew myself, stuff that I wrote myself, so that it hopefully stays in the brain. Like this map, it's already pretty much lives in my brain because I drew it all basically 3 times. I drew it in my little notebook, I drew it in the bigger graph paper, and then I drew it on one of those really big sketch pads. Archipelago, big swords. It's hard for me to keep up with chat and talk and write, so I might maybe put question really big if you have something, or in like, or idea in front of it if you have something you want to add. Otherwise, I'll kind of be in and out of chat. Half Troll is a guardian of an old tomb. They forgot why it's there. Yeah, I mean, this could be... I'm going to put Half Troll Guardian in a second. Anything here worth a fortune. Rare poisons. I like that. Trolls and poisons. Okay, so features tiny island, mostly flat, barren, black sand beaches. And then obviously they get thrown in this ritualistic hole in the ground, basically, where the dungeon is going to be. Stone, what? I'm going to say like a dolmen or like a Stonehenge kind of situation surrounding it. I'll just write Stonehenge. I'll remember what that means in the moment. Actually, I don't know how to spell that. H-E-N-G or H-I-N-G? Oh well. Stonehenge. Surrounding hole. Then I'll say inhabitants, or I'm just going to write folk for short. Folk. Half trolls. And I just thought of this, since it's Troll Skull Island. Half trolls living in a giant skull. On hill. Okay, so we have the features of the island, the folk of the island, and now I almost want to do a third F. Okay, here we go, some questions. Question, 4 questions. Thanks, idea suggestions, right? Okay, you're just showing the format. Thanks, Phil. What about like an Easter Island kind of giant heads hinge? I like that. Half trolls living in a giant skull on the hill. I'm gonna say we have features, we have folk, and I'm gonna ruin the motif here, and I'm gonna say special. I'm going to say magic stone heads. And what are these stone heads doing? I think I'm going to go to Knave real quick. And I put a card somewhere in here. Yeah. So this is Knave 2E. Can you guys see that? This is like the traveling weather. Structures, place traits. I'm going to roll a D100 for that. $75. Shrouded. Okay, so maybe the those skulls, or the rather the stone heads, shroud the island with their magic. Kind of like that. Maybe that's why few people have found their way here. All right, so I'm gonna put this away for a sec. All right, magic stone heads, shroud island, and what did we roll earlier? Rare poison. Shroud the island. I'm gonna say in a poisonous, like not the island itself, but like surrounding the island is like, well, these are gonna be first level ShadowDark characters, so Maybe we don't put poison around the whole island. That seems like a bad idea. Okay, I'll save that detail for something else. Shroud the island. I'll just keep it vague for now. It could be weather. It could be just makes it like invisible. Okay, and then features, folk, special, and I'm gonna say treasure, even though, or loot. I'll just put it as loot because not all of this will be technically treasure in the ShadowDark sense. Loot, rare poisons. I might break into some of these other books later, but I'm kind of using this Uncharted Islands from Pirate Borg at the moment. Natural hazards. I didn't roll that, so that's another 2d6. 5. Low-lying areas flood frequently. Okay. All right, I don't want to overdo it with just the features of the island. I like that this is like something I could do on the fly, but current conflicts. I will see if there's a conflict. Let's see what we get. 6. Explorers hunting animals to extinction. Maybe that's why there are only a few half trolls left. Let's see, make sure there's... What matters, Wes, is that you still try to handwrite. The legend, what's... All right, question. What is the book under the notebook? That is Pirate Borg. Yeah, I'm using Pirate Borg to kind of like start things off because they're islands and I thought that felt appropriate. But I'm going to also break out Knave 2E, and underneath that is ShadowDark. So I'm going to hit all the books. Okay. So we have the basic features, the folk, something special about the island, and some loot. I think I want to come up with the POIs, and I'm not going to do more than 3 per island, I think, except the really big island in the middle of the map. Think like, I said this at the beginning of the stream, but almost like Wind Waker, where a lot of the islands are fairly small with the addition of maybe some dungeons on them. All right, so I'm going to do points of interest. All right, and obviously we said there are some inhabitants, half trolls living on a giant skull on the hill. So that's going to be our first little village. I think I'm just going to call that... Is it too on the nose to say Troll Skull Village? I don't think so. I don't think I have to be super thoughtful with all these. Troll Skull Village. Let's do this. Population 81. That's a lot. I'm gonna scale it down. This is a tiny island. Let's half that and say like 20. Pop 20. Leader. Need a name. Somebody out there give me a name for a half troll leader. And what's their like general disposition or something. I like to do characters as like one basic trait. Nice group of books for doing this. Thanks. Hey, what's up? What's going on? All right, let's see. See you later, DM Tales. Thanks for stopping in. It could literally be one of the nose of the Troll Skull Island. I like that. Oh man, that's good. Troll Skull Village. Well, I'm gonna write it underneath. Let's see how far this goes first. Half Troll Slargan. All right, I'm waiting on a name for the leader. Let's I'll come up with one if you guys aren't fast enough, but I like to have some input. That's why I want to do this live. How long has this been going, by the way? 22 minutes-ish? Maybe a little more? All right. I'm going to pick a letter of the alphabet by rolling a d20. What's the 14th letter of the alphabet? This is riveting stuff, isn't it? Oh, that was your vote for the name. Slargan? Slargan. Okay. I like it. What's Slargan's defining characteristic? I thought you were saying like troll jargon, Slargan or something. I like it. I like it. Schlargen. All right. Let's do. Oh, I got a red crown here. Slargan is going to be. He's addicted to moldy broccoli. Okay. Maybe that's has something to do with the poison. I'm thinking more. By the way, like that is a fun detail. What I'm looking for is like, you know, haughty, evasive. Like, is this troll, you know, a strong leader or is he a coward? You know, things like that. Addicted to broccoli is certainly interesting, though. If this was Land of Eam, I'd be like, yeah, that's a perfect detail. But I'm thinking it's going to be ShadowDark, so. All right, Slargan. I'm going to say Slargan is cautious because there are only so many half trolls left on the island. A cautious projects like a master leader, but secretly he is whipped by his partner and she runs the show. Okay, that's fun. A cautious leader who I can't even think of a short acquiesces, bows. I'm going to say who bows to his partner. Now we need a partner name. Slargan and oh yeah, NPC tables in Knave. Tongue twister. That's a great idea. Thank you. Got them marked right there. That's why I picked this book out. I knew there was a reason. All right. Personality. Is that a 7? Braggart. Okay, so maybe his partner is a braggart. Ooh, I like this. I like the details. Sometimes I forget how good this book is. Yeah. I'm gonna say let's call her Honora. Honora is what I got. 49. All right. So she's a braggart, and then I'm gonna put a bookmark that page real quick. His partner. Honora. A braggart. I'm going to say a braggart brute. I'm going to say she's a tough gal. All right, that's fun. That's enough for Troll Skull Village. I don't think this needs to be insanely detailed. This particular island. This is the starter island. I don't want them to be too interested in what's happening here. I want it to be pretty shallow is not the word, but you know, pretty thin, like what's going on as far as like, you know, political intrigue, that kind of things. Just a couple of half trolls trying to survive on a tiny island. But now we do need a reason. So the players are getting dropped into this dungeon. So maybe they, let's see if that's in NPC stuff here in Knave. Maybe there's some motivations. Personalities, goals. That might be what we're looking for. Let's try D100 here. That didn't really roll how I wanted. All right, 23. To create art. Let's see what's around it. Create an army, create base, create city, create disease, create a dungeon. All right, let me make sure there's nothing on the next page that's going to help flesh that idea out. So we have create art, or like, why can't I turn the page? Liabilities, relationships, mannerisms. Wow. Yeah, I should have started here. Huh. Monsters. Okay, so quickly move on. Yeah, I was hoping for like something like motives, but maybe that would be actually under place traits. So let's look over here too. No, that goes into delving. But it might have like a reason for the dungeon. Room themes, dungeons, hazards, mechanisms, okay. Encounters. Let's just roll on encounters to see what we get and see if it mixes with creating art. 46. We have foraging. Foraging art? I don't know if that makes as much sense either. Alright, well, I'm going to look back, see if we have anything else. I like using the Worlds Without Numbers prompts for shallow settlements. Knave tables are awesome. I agree with what I'm saying. Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't bring my book with me today. I'm not at home right now. I'm in a kind of makeshift office I'm borrowing. We'll see if I get kicked out eventually, but all right. I think I'm going to say not creating art. Wait, what was that second prompt I just rolled? I already forgot it. And I forgot where it was. Great. Delve. So, yeah, I think we got enough of an idea of what's going on here. These guys are stealing things from people and then throwing them in the dungeon. I don't think it needs to be any more complicated than that. And maybe they have a connection who buys like stolen art and stolen items and stuff. So I'm going to say the half-troll tribe. Half-troll tribe is throwing hapless, what's the word for like stranded, I guess, hapless stranders, stranded sailors, because they're all sailors in this world, into the pit and stealing their stuff. Like I said, keep this one shallow. Well, this music is intense. I don't know if you guys can hear it as loud as I am. Okay. Trolls are creating statue of David art. Just all weird and lumpy trolls. Hey, Twin Steel, what's going on? Foraging for plants to use as pigments. Ooh. Oh, that's cool. That might actually go well with the poison thing earlier. Okay, so we have Troll Skull Village. We have what the tribe is doing there. I'm going to say this island only needs one more POI. So let's go back to... Actually, look, you know what? I haven't dipped into ShadowDark yet. And since that's a game we're playing, I know I put a marker in here somewhere. Settlements. There it is. I don't think this is going to be a proper settlement rather. Shops. Arctic. Now we got to find the island one. Cave, deep tunnels, desert, forest, grasslands, high jungle, low district, market, mountains, ocean. That might actually be the literal ocean. I think it is. Yeah. River and coast. He could be the last troll. Or, yeah, the last troll. Let's do that. It popped out at me. Like I said, let's not go crazy with this first island. So I'm going to put Troll Cave. Alright, so we got the Troll Skull Village, and then we have Troll Cave. This is not a half troll, but an actual troll. Troll Cave. See you, Blaze. Thanks for stopping by. Elder Stream. What's up, Ryan? I got to give a huge shout out to Ryan because we are like circling around the same vein. I went and stopped by your stream earlier and I was like, you know what? I've got an hour to kill today. I'm going to do the same thing. And it literally just to prove that how close we are to the same idea. This is my island ocean I've been working on for a while with all the islands on it. And this is our starter island here, which I'm populating right now with some ideas. It's Troll Skull Island, and it's been very troll themed, so we're sticking to it. Now, I want to do something fun here. I really dislike using the traditional troll because everyone has had that fight now. Maybe these new players won't have had that fight, but I'm going to go to Knave here. And I'm going to go to spells, elements, qualities, and effects and things. And I'm going to roll my D100 and decide what kind of weird troll this is. So we got a 48. Now I'm going to look at all these tables because I think we're going to get an interesting combination of things. So 48 on the first table is jocular. Right above that is iridescent though, and I kind of like that better. So an iridescent troll, let's see the effect on 48. Identifying or healing or illuminating. Element of 48 would be light. And maybe I'll roll on some different ones and kind of shake this up. And forms hawk. Okay. Let's see if there's any interesting mutations. Hair growth. Okay, that's not... I'm going to roll again. Let's see. 65. One leg. Could be a peg leg troll that for some reason its leg's not regenerating. 65 or 48. Magic school is power or insects. Ooh, insects is fun. Okay, let's say this peg-legged iridescent troll with a controls insects, and I'm gonna roll the effect again because wow, did I really get 49 after having 48? No, let's try this one more time. 63 monitoring effect. Oh, so maybe it uses the insects to monitor the island. Leg got carterized. I love that. Stairs. That's a deep cut right there. That's awesome. Okay, so I didn't like the element though. That's kind of the main theme I was going for. Did I really roll a 65 again? This is crazy. What are the odds? Pollen. So it's a pollen troll. Hey, maybe that makes sense of the bugs too. All right, I like it. Let's keep it. A one-legged. So this, I'm going to call it a proto-troll. One-legged, is it one-legged or legged? I guess it's the same spelling either way. One-legged, iridescent. I should have kept the book open because I don't know how to spell any of this. That was under spells. iridescent. Yeah, phones have ruined me for spelling. One-legged iridescent pollen troll that controls bugs to monitor the island. See, all that from a couple of rolls. All right. Yeah, by the way, if you haven't checked out Ryan MLDM, his channel, I'm basically just fully ripping off what he does right now, which is like a lot of prep and stuff live, but I really enjoy it, so I thought maybe I'll try my hand at it myself, and I was planning on prepping some ShadowDark anyway, so just worked out today. One-legged iridescent pollen troll that controls bugs to monitor the island. Okay, now we need that troll to have some kind of interesting treasure. We already have rare poisons as loot, so maybe there's some kind of strange fungus or something on the island, but I almost want to roll on a ShadowDark table for treasure, because that's the game we'll be playing. So here we go, treasure. D100. Yeah, ShadowDark is awesome. Bee troll with a bee nest inside it. Oh, that's a great idea too, Twin Steel. Oh, later. I'm missing a lot of chats. Sorry. But yeah, I mean, honestly, ShadowDark is just like the most old school version of 5e distilled down to its basics. So if you know 5e, you know ShadowDark. It's a really easy one-to-one conversion. I mean, you got the 6 stats, you got AC, you roll high, there's advantage and disadvantage, and just to, you know, show off ShadowDark real quick, every class fits on a 2-page spread, so, you know, there's your priest, that's everything you need to know. Oh, I'm not showing it off right now, there we go. You know, there's your thief, even shorter. It's really easy to run. Okay, so treasure. Did I roll? I'm getting distracted. 66. All right, what is 66 is a fine set of ivory game pieces, kind of like these, huh? And I want to like have something. This is a troll horde, right? So we gotta have like a magic item or something thrown in there. If they kill a troll, they are welcome to that item. So we got mundane items. We've got boons. Here we go. Magic item idea generator. Okay, so this is a D20 actually. 18. Oh, you roll 3 times. The righteous, 10. Staff, 9. The righteous staff of the horde. Righteous staff of the horde. Maybe that's that's his other leg. I love that. That's absolutely going to be the case. And maybe that's where all of this bug power comes from. Okay, one-legged iridescent pollen troll that controls bugs to monitor the island. Loot. Oh, wait a minute. something with the bugs here. If they unless they're hit by fire, and I believe that's the same in ShadowDark. Since it's a pollen troll, what's sort of the antithesis of pollen? Like some kind of insecticide? Because there might be something interesting that the players had to sort of suss out there. Like Planet Terror. Sunlight hits the skin, the flowers in its flesh bloom and heal its wounds. Ooh, I like that. Ooh, that's cool. Okay. And that's maybe why the bugs like him. Okay, so but then sunlight is like that could be really strong, right? Like if sunlight is his superpower, like Superman, then it's gonna be really hard. You gotta fight him at night. The buzzing of the flies, beetles could always hint at the troll's approach. Ooh, magic honey if you have bees. These are all great ideas. I'm going to say, since we did have rare poisons already on the island, and that's so close to being like an insecticide in my mind, I'm going to say that there is a type of poison that destroys plant life on the island. All other plant life, rather. And so maybe it grows near one of these black sand beaches. So I'm going to say one-legged troll, iridescent pollen trolls, monitors the island. Bugs, the sound of swarming bugs. Tell of his approach. Actually, you know what? I think I'm getting these two ideas mixed up in my head. Pollen and bug swarms. So maybe this poisonous plant actually kills the bugs. And so there's no bugs near any of these things on the island. Flowers, whatever on the troll could be really potent. So if you can brave the troll, you can come away with a potent spell component. I like that too. All right, the sound of swarming bugs tell of his approach. I'm actually going to say, since he's a pollen troll, that these bugs are like leeching all over his skin, and that is what's kind of healing him. And I'm going to, so the bugs tell of his approach and heal him. So it could still be that, like, you know, fire still is pretty potent against him. But I think this plant that keeps bugs away is even stronger, because then he can't use his bug powers, essentially. Okay, so I'm going to say a rare plant on the coast. Wards away bugs. And we need a name for this plant. Writing these down. Nice. All right. So, man, this would be a really good time to have that plant book. I can't remember the name of it. But essentially, like, the page numbers are like a D66 table. And it's got all these really, like, fully fleshed out and interesting plants and stuff. Let's see. I just need a name. So I'm actually going to go to the NPC chart. And I'm going to use the surname. All right, so I got a flat 40. Feather. And I got a 53. Featherham. I like Feather Grove. That sounds very plant-like. Yeah, we'll call it Feather Grove, unless somebody came up with a cooler name. Yeah, Feather Grove, that works. I don't want to spend too long on this one idea. A rare plant on the coast wards away bugs. Feather Grove. Cool. So we have our troll. We have a tell, or rather a. I'm drawing a blank right now. Give information freely. Show impact and something dangerous. Basically, you're told to let the players know that this is a dangerous fight and that there's something weird going on. Feather sport. I don't know if that's what you meant. Oh no, my phone has lost the chat. So, landmark hidden secret information. Well, as long as you guys can still hear me, am I still live, or am I losing connection? I can't tell. Anyway, I'm going to keep pressing on as though you guys can hear me, because it's almost 2 and I was going to go for about an hour. Alright, Troll Cave. One-legged iridescent pollen troll that controls bugs to monitor the island. The sound of swarming bugs tell of his approach and heal him. A rare plant on the coast wards away bugs. Feather Grove. Okay, and then we have his loot. So I'm going to write cave loot. I rolled a little bit earlier and I got staff, the righteous staff of the horde. And I'm just going to say controls bugs. I'm going to call it, though, to be more thematic, righteous staff of the swarm. And I'm going to say controls bugs. And then I got to write in that detail, trolls peg leg. That's awesome. And it's very piratey and on theme. Okay, still live. Cool. The stream ended on my phone, so I don't know. I'm still seeing messages too, which is good. All right, righteous staff of the swarm controls bugs, trolls peg leg. We had some ivory dice pieces, I think, or I think I made up that they were dice, but rolled a 60 something. Fine set of ivory game pieces. I'm just gonna write game pieces. But that's kind of a boring horde. So, I mean, the staff is cool, the game pieces. Oh yeah, somebody made a, the plant growth, flowers, whatever on the troll could be really potent. Potent spell component. So I'm going to say rare troll pollen. Because that's really fun and could be used in some kind of like weird item or concoction. Rare troll pollen. Okay. And I think last but not least, these guys are going to have, like, basically when the campaign opens, they rode in on a boat that they were just passengers on. But I think I want there to be a dock at the end of this island, and I think that's the last thing for Troll Skull Island. I think there's a dock on the other side of the hill, and there's going to be... I'm kind of using Pirate Borg for the sea travel because the rules are just, in my opinion, some of the best seafaring rules I've seen in an RPG. They're very simple, with just enough like fun, fiddly bits to tinker with. All right, that was a tongue twister. But yeah, so let me break this out. And I think the best way to start them off is just with a sloop. In fact, I think it suggests that in the book. Sloop is a small single-mast vessel, the perfect pirate ship due to its speed, shallow draft, and maneuverability. So now there is a section in here near where I just was, and I'm going to find it. Random cargo. Derelict ship generator. Yes, this is why Pirate Borg is the best. It is a derelict ship generator. You don't see that in every game. Nor should you, nor should you. Okay, so where is it? D12. 8. In the middle of the jungle, forest, or desert. I think this might be a situation where we pick one. Shallow water, suspended on shoals. Beach wrecked. I like beach wrecked. All right, so before I get too away with myself here, there's a lot of stuff to shuffle around. This is why people use PDFs. All right. And maybe it's just actually behind the cave. I think that makes the most sense. So you got to either work your way around the troll or fight them or something. What did I say? Beach wrecked. That's kind of hard to say. Beach wrecked sloop. Now let's see if there's anything else. What happened here? D8. 5. Run aground or scrape some shoals. I don't know what shoals are. I guess those are like little rocks in the water. I'm not sure. Beach wrecked sloop. I'm going to just say damaged. But, let's see. I already rolled the type in one of the rooms. Luckily, this thing does have a room. So 6. A gaping hole in the hull. Damaged hull, I'm just going to write. Odd feature, D12. D12. 2. Piles of bleached white bones throughout. All right, filled with bones. Full of bones. Very unsettling. All right, and current occupants. I think we know this belonged to the troll, but I'm going to roll just to see. Dozens of blood-drained corpses. A weakened vampire. No, they're level 1. Development D8. Got a 2. Derelict starts to sink or collapse. Adversaries arrive, other pirates, monsters, military explosions or fire, extreme weather, things from the deep. Ooh, that's kind of fun though. Maybe like as they start to repair it, some crabs come up out of the water or something. Original cargo D20. 17. A large statue. Could be one of the skull head statues or whatever we decided those are. Full of bones with statue on board. I mean, this is basically an adventure right here. Condition. Missing or ruin. Salvageable. Okay. Let's see. Salvageable. Got a 2. And because this has been in like any game I've ever run where there is like a seafaring situation, pirate ships, anything, I'm gonna name the boat the Blind Gambit. So I'm gonna write that on there because that is always the name of my ship of rogues. And I think it'll be fitting to this campaign and the way things start. Okay, well, I think we have Troll Skull Island. Tiny island, mostly flat, barren, black sand beaches, Stonehenge surrounding hole. The folk are half trolls living in a giant skull on a hill. There's some special magic stone heads that shroud the island. The rare loot is the poison, which we defined later on. Points of interest are Troll Skull Village, Slargan, a cautious leader who bows to his partner, Honora, a braggart brute. Half-troll tribe is throwing hapless, stranded sailors into the pit and stealing their stuff. There's a troll cave, and maybe they, now that I'm thinking about this, maybe they also, what's the word I'm looking for, venerate this troll as the last of their tribe, or like the progenitor. Yeah, we have our one-legged iridescent pollen troll that controls bugs to monitor the island. So maybe he even knows they're coming. The sound of swarming bugs tells of his approach and heal him. A rare plant on the coast wards away bugs, feather growth. And then we have our cave loot, which we just did, and the ship on the shore. So that pretty much wraps it up right there. Got one island down. That is our starter island, so it's good to have that one at least taken care of. But yeah, this was fun. I like rolling on tables and generating ideas so that they're not just... and yeah, that was fun. I probably try to do this again at some point. I've got a here. I'm using for the north side over here. Just in case either A, I can coax them into playing some Land of Aim instead of ShadowDark, or just because Mucklands already has so much good material, so many tables and generative stuff to roll on, that I thought it'd actually be a good mesh with Shadow Week. I think I'll try to do more of these live streams, just to show some of the process for creating adventures, things like that. I think a lot of people, I've seen a lot of comments of people saying like, how do you come up with ideas? Pirate Borg. And to me, they're like, the problem of prep is really just deciding on an island, and it kind of built until there was like a pretty persistent theme actually, which doesn't always happen, which is also fine. Sometimes like truly random stuff is a lot of fun too. But yeah, and it also gave me an idea for the dungeon I'm going to write that's below the island, because I already have a map for it and I haven't really fleshed out what the dungeon is going to be. So potentially in the future I could do another stream where, you know, we work on the dungeon as well, and I'll probably use the monster Overhaul for that. That's kind of my main monster book for like motivations, trying to flesh out what the monsters are doing there and like what they have and what they do different special. In fact, it probably would have come in pretty handy for the troll if I'd had it with me, but I just didn't have it on. Okay, apparently I'm going in and out. So thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys. You know, do the things, do the YouTube things. In fact, here, if I'm still live, not totally cutting out, then here you go. That's the end of the video. Appreciate you guys. I just did a video of Nimble today. If you haven't seen it, go check that out after this. And you know, maybe I'll put the links